Hello. Welcome to Imperfect in an Uncertain World. Resources to help you navigate your life with authenticity and purpose. Are you ready for a tool that helps you move from reaction to response? Let's talk about RI2, and that stands for reflection, introspection, and integration. You know, a lot of times we get stuck in our heads. We ruminate over what is happening, and the more we think, the higher the temperature of our angst becomes. Before we know it, we're boiling and we react. What if you could use a practice that minimized those reactions and maximized your responses? I've developed a practice called RI2. Again, RI2 stands for reflection, introspection, and integration. It's a way of, instead of staying stuck in our heads, this process invites us to move into our heart first. And in our heart, we gently and objectively listen to our emotions and allow our fears to surface. We don't cling to those fears when they surface, we listen to them. Then we move back into our heads with introspection to really understand what's happening and come up with a plan of action that plays out when we go through the process of integration. Before we start, though, I will tell you that once you get into the rhythm of this practice, it doesn't take hours. Sometimes you can literally go through the whole practice and it might take a matter of seconds. So the more you use RI2, the easier it is to move from reflection to introspection to integration. So let's talk about the first step, reflection. Reflection invites us to hear with the ear of our heart. We listen with all of our senses, and we process any information that we gather within our quiet mind. And so if you're not familiar with the quiet mind, that's the part of us that is objective and mindful. We're gathering information and we're not making judgments or assumptions about it. We use our quiet mind to pay attention to the words that we and others utter. While we are aware of nonverbal aspects of our dialogue, any hidden nuances within the message come up during reflection. During reflection, we listen only to gain information. So think about reflection equals fact-finding. Now, during reflection, we are non-attached, non-judgmental, and non-defensive about what we're hearing. We don't judge what we're feeling. And so instead of saying, gosh, I have this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach, we note how we are feeling. So we describe that. Well, my stomach is sour, or the muscles are clenched. I'm breaking out in a cold sweat. Those are descriptors other than saying we're horrible. I'm feeling horrible because I've got this horrible feeling. So in that way, we're feeling the feeling, but we're not attaching to the feeling. And again, remember, reflection equals fact-finding. Now, the second step in the process is introspection. We take all the information that we gained during reflection and really seek to understand the whys of how we are attempting to react to that. Through introspection, we begin to know ourselves. So we begin to ask ourselves, what is authentic to us? What are our fears and our imperfections, which really are at the root of our illusions? So introspection helps us to separate what is authentic with what is illusion. The key to introspection is the cultivation of a non-defended, non-judgmental attitude. So introspection invites us to own our own judgments, to name our assumptions, and to really look at our behavior patterns, to identify our behavior patterns that get us caught in reactions without judging them. So we don't judge them as bad. They are what they are. They're the baseline that we start from when we begin to develop a compassionate, responsive life. While practicing introspection, we begin where we are in the present moment. We look for patterns while recognizing that some habitual behaviors are really not life-giving. We understand life patterns and find opportunities for transformation. So introspection, instead of getting stuck in the gunk of like, oh, I've got so far to go, we look for things that we're actually doing right and we build upon those patterns in our life. With the first step, reflection, we engage our inquisitive mind and explore the world with curious daring. This is important, without preconceptions. We do not judge ourselves or our behaviors. Now, with the second step, introspection, we look at our choices and again, without judgment, try to understand, why did we make these? What's at the root of our reactions? Or maybe what's at the root of our violent behavior? In introspection, we come up with a plan to change our reactions into responses. Now, the implementation of this plan is called integration, and that is the third step of RI2. Now, consciously and unconsciously, we choose how we will respond or react to life's unexpected challenges. When we are focused on past regrets or future concerns, we act without self-awareness. When we are aware, our responses are conscious. Reflection and introspection invite us to be present to those unexpected challenges. When we're mindful, we respond out of awareness and understanding. We actively integrate self-understanding that we've gained during reflection and introspection. We repattern our thinking, align our intent with our actions, and better engage compassion through our authentic self. That means that we don't have room for any violent behavior. Only through integration of our knowing discovered through reflection and our understanding of what we discovered, which is a part of integration, can true sustainable transformation occur. Through these two steps, we recognize our life triggers and really better understand our reactions to them. Integration of the knowing and understanding engages our intent to be agents of compassion and peace. When we successfully integrate what we've learned in reflection and understood in introspection in our life, we undergo a paradigm shift. With this new paradigm shift, we gain tools to intuitively respond to life's challenges. Now, integration is ongoing. We don't stop and say, oh, well, that worked okay. No, we might have to go back through the reflection and introspection process. But it's an ongoing opportunity to modify our harmful, destructive, hurtful patterns. We shift away from false judgments and assumptions that drove us in the past. We shift towards actively and purposefully choosing to respond instead of react. And so we're going to respond to ourselves, to others, and to the whole world compassionately. If we were to integrate compassion fully and become nonviolent, we must always work to reach a place of understanding with others, whatever our differences. And the RI2 process helps us in that understanding. Now, try the RI2 process. Let me know how it changes your world. Remember that you're the domino that creates a chain reaction of transformation.